Hello everyone, this is Diane, and today is the day that I get to show you these Linen Market journals. They are made with a digital kit called Linen Market, which I got from Emily at Polka Dot Pixels, and I will link the kit below. And a lot of you have gone over and made purchases of this kit because it is so fun. So I appreciate that, and Emily appreciates that. So I'm going to show you these three journals, and I don't know, since there are three of them, I think I'm just going to have them be in the shop when you see the video. Today's Thanksgiving as I'm filming. I'm not sure which day. It will be one of these weekend days. It'll be Friday, Saturday, or Sunday that they are in the shop, but you will know when the video is up, they're in the shop. And then another day, I will take you through my journal that I made out of this kit. These are 1 signature journals. I made a 3 signature journal to keep. So let's go through them. Let's stop talking and go through them. They are all made with kitchen linens, tablecloths and linen towels and the like. And they are fabrics that are sewn onto Amazon padded envelopes. So they crinkle. And I like that. And then each one has a little sash that is made from a piece of kitchen linen. This happens to be an apron, a vintage apron. I've been using lots of pieces of this apron lately, Raggedy Ann journals, and then these. So I sewed the sash. It's just a plain strip, a torn strip of fabric. I sewed each one to a vintage slide. So this one is a green one. I've got glue on my finger right there. It's bugging me. So I sewed it through the slide, and then when you put it on, wrap it around your journal, slide the fabric from the bottom to the top, and then through this one down to the bottom again, and pull it as snug as you want it. And I like to tuck this underneath that, and that helps keep it snug. But if you don't like the way that looks, leave it loose. You just might happen to keep it tight, pull it tight. So I thought they were really fun to use for these journals. And now we get to take a look inside. So this is all one piece, this tablecloth piece that I got at an estate sale. Very vibrant and beautiful. And then I just added this fringe. I started this video and then realized I hadn't added my fringes to the covers yet, so I had to stop it and do that. So that's done. Inside, there's more fabric, and this is a vintage label, a book plate, and it had a name on it, so I stamped that label and added it. And then we have this pocket that was made with one of these cards. Oh, that's not. Sorry. One of these tabbed cards from an old recipe binder. They're very faded around the edge. So each one has one of these cards. And I love that it has lines on it. You can write something on there if you want to. And this is one of the embellishments from the kit, Linen Market. I put in this pocket a statement of account, and it does have some writing on it. It has, I think that's someone's name. It does say March 9th, but it doesn't have a year, so I don't know the year. But it came out of this pad that I picked up at a flea market. I don't think I paid $15 for it, but if I did, it was worth it, because look at all that's here, and I've already used some. Yeah, there's no dates on that. But it's really cool, and you can write on the back. And then this lady came out of a vintage magazine. It's the Soap and Does that does it. And I kept this part of the ad. Just put it on a piece of paper that you can write on. She goes in the pocket, and then I just clipped this to the pocket, and you can do what you like with it. Okay. Oh, we have scrapbook paper in here. A lot of the embellishments that you see glued to the pages and tags and things, they are cut from the kit because there are a lot of tags and journal cards and embellishments, and even envelopes and pockets that came with this kit, in addition to 12 pages. This is another linen, and I added some vintage rickrack, and I just put a guest check in there and this fabric tag that I made a long time ago. I went through my ready-made ephemera and pulled a bunch of stuff, and that helped me get these journals made. During a busy season, things have been busy, so I didn't have a lot of time to work on these, but I was able to get them done more quickly because I already had a lot of ephemera done, and some pages. I do want to show you, I forgot to mention this, each kit is going to come with one of these packs, and I'll probably add more to the pack as I clean up. There will be some leftover digital pieces, and each kit is going to look a little different. Leftover scrapbook pieces, a couple of guest checks, a couple of bingo papers, Savers book with some stamps. It's actually a folded paper. You can cut that up and use it. This is a part of a vintage magazine advertisement for pickles, but it'll be something different in every book. These are some more of the digitals that are left over. And a digital envelope. It's like a coin envelope. Flashcard. More digitals. There's a lot in that kit, and I used a lot in all of these journals. Some little price stickers, some tickets, and a few playing cards. That's a word card. And, oh, these. I liked the colors of these with these journals. And some green stamps. So the cards, the green stamps, price stickers, tickets, they're all in, and the guest checks and bingo things, they're all in these bundles, but the digitals and paper scraps and things, they vary. They're all in there, but they might have different designs, whatever. So you get quite a bit in this little bundle that you can play with, and then I'll probably throw a few more things in there. Back to the book. This is vintage crochet on the edge. I love that. It's just very soft. I stamped the background of this page with a chicken wire background stamp. And these are digitals. Now the digitals look like, many of the pieces look like layered collage, like this page. That's what I loved about it. I love the colors and the style, but I loved the layered look. And then I added to the collage in some of the cases by gluing that circle on, and then when I tuck this in, it's adding another layer to that collage. And then I added a vintage photograph. Oh, that's one more thing I wanted to put in those little bundles. I want to add one more photograph to that. Okay. You do have space to write here in that gingham piece. And there's another collage. Ephemera I put on as a pocket and tucked that piece in. This is a vintage ledger, and I used some green stamps and then a circle from the kit. Coffee dyed blue paper. This is from the kit. And that's a Real Denizen vintage label. This is shelf liner, vintage shelf liner. This piece here is from the kit, and that's a vintage German measuring paper, measuring tape. These envelopes are from the kit, and I added this tag with the perforated part, but I put washi tape on it so it won't come apart. And I stamped a background very faintly on that and added a couple elements from the kit. And I put some baker's twine in the tags, the nice colors that match this kit. This is vintage wallpaper, and here is a recipe for cold catsup. Tomatoes, onions, celery, brown sugar, salt, and vinegar. And then it says some peppers. You can make your own ketchup. This jar is from the kit, and this coupon is from a 1960s calendar. It was a drugstore calendar, and it had coupons and some tips about medicines and stuff like that, or household tips. This is a 1930s, I think, wallpaper border. It's got a little bit of staining on it. And this is just a card that I had made. This is from a quilt booklet. It was a full-size book, but it was a stapled kind that didn't have a lot of pages. I love the pages in this book. So every journal gets one of these pages. This is from the kit, and this is a real milk bottle cap. And this is from a 1912 catalog, Ward's catalog. 1912, 1916 is one of those. And it is very fragile. I added some vintage cellophane tape here, and I think I'm going to add some here because it wants to tear again, and maybe there's some on the other side. So I put, this is from the kit, a digital fragile handle with care, and I thought this would a good place to put it to remind you to be careful when you turn this page. I did reinforce the fold, but you have to be careful here too, because it might want to pull against that paper and tear. But it's so gorgeous. I love it. This was a page that was in my stash that I had already made. I added this sticker from the kit, but I didn't really care for the other sides of the page. So I do have a video where this part was already added to it with the tag, and that's a real check, blank check. So I have a video where I covered up the rest of the page, the book page. So this is a vintage ledger and a strip that was part of the kit. I added the border and these tags. Here's one of the pages. There are little spots on the pages where you can add little notes if you want to. In the center, I added this pocket that's cut from a very old magazine from the 1930s, and a piece of coffee dyed paper and some tickets that you can decorate with, or you could even just use them to write on the back. This is the other side of the ledger paper. It's from a hardware store. Lots of space for writing there. This is a digital tab, and that might have also been from a Polka Dot Pixels kit, a different one. I had it already printed in my collection of tabs, so I just glued it on. I thought it went really well with this. So this is still that book page that I covered up, and these are vintage wallpaper pieces. You may remember, if you saw that video, that there was a little flap here, like on this side, that big, and I forgot, and I glued this wallpaper all the way over onto that flap, so it was really stiff and didn't want to bend, so I just cut it off. Here is another piece that was in my stash, already decorated, and I put in a vintage flower seed packet. You can put a little treasure in there. I'll put it behind so you can see that sweet girl. So you want to be careful when you turn this page that you turn it with this and not pull on the page, because it might rip against this. I stamped on this page, 2 stamps there, and this is a genuine loyalty stamp, like the S&H green stamps, but it's plaid, and a piece from the kit. These the backs of all of my digital pages are just printed with lined paper or grid paper that I have. It's a digital. The other side of the quilt book, and it has lace on the edge. The wallpaper. This is a vintage sweet wrinkled peas can label. I put it on cardstock, and then we have a pea seed packet in there with a folded recipe card tucked inside. And another tag from the kit. And all of these pieces are from the kit. These 2 cards and these are from the kit. I just put this piece of ephemera here because this is where the shelf liner was folded, and these are holding it open, but this helps too. Each journal gets a vintage greeting card. This is an Easter card, but I liked the rooster on it because this kind of has a farmhouse feel to it. And so I put it in there. It says 1951 here. I liked the colors and I liked the rooster. I like the bunny and the chick too, but with this theme, I liked the rooster. And here we have another can label that is from Mountain Brand Cherries. And another piece from the kit. See, it looks like these are all paper clipped together, just like these are paper clipped together. Here's another image from the 1930s magazine, or a 1930s magazine. I've had quite a few of them. And I have this giant tag. I had to trim it a little bit at the bottom. And I just added a few of the digital ephemera pieces. Here's the other side of the ledger that has a flap folded in. And I made a paper clip out of this Chase and Sanborn coffee can that came out of an old magazine. And this is a vintage card for motor oil. And somebody did some writing on the back. This was paper clipped to this side too. So this is a Borden red scissors coupon. So apparently you could cut these off a Borden product and then exchange it for premiums. And the different coupons have different images of things that you could exchange it for. And it has a list here of where you can get these coupons, different products. So it's kind of fun. That's from the digital. And on the last page, I put this vintage coaster on a piece of cardstock that I die cut. And there's a postcard from the kit and this recipe. It had the paper clip on it, so I left it. It's not old and rusted. I don't know how old that paper clip is. Recipe for kolaczki, a Polish cake. You can see the imprint from the paper clip there. It does look old, it's just not rusty. On the back pocket is a piece of wallpaper border, and then this came from an old magazine, and this came from an old magazine. And there's a Savers book. So you get one in your back pocket, and you get one in your bonus kit. This is for Mrs. Schlorer's mayonnaise. Never heard of it. So this one is, they all have their own listing. I didn't name them. I never think to name them before I start the video. So they don't have names, they just have, got twisted. They'll just have their own listing with a picture, so you'll be able to see which one you're getting. This one has a piece of I think this was part of a towel or a small tablecloth, but it's very thin fabric. So was the polka dot apron. One of the edges of this is hemmed and the other one is torn. And it has this red slide with a pretty shape around it. This fabric is this fabric. It is not vintage. I just got it at Hobby Lobby. It was one of their remnants. And I thought it was perfect with this. This was cut from an old tablecloth. It's got a stain right there. And I loved it with the gingham. And then I added, these are vintage yo-yos. And this is from an estate sale that someone had made a garland out of them. So I don't know how old it is. It's not as old as these. And then I tore off the button that was already there because it was very bulky. and I didn't like it. So I added this, and this is a vintage button, and the thread that is in there is the vintage thread. So I just glued it to that. And I added this vintage loopy yarn fringe. We have the same types of elements, but all of the magazine things and the embellishments, they're all different because there were so many in the kit. I just spread them all throughout. This is a different digital, this label. I don't know where that came from. This is from a vintage tablecloth, a small one, like for a card table. And this is vintage embroidered ribbon. Seems like there should be something else in that pocket. I guess check. Yes. Wonder if I put them away already. Okay, I'm going to grab a guest check so I don't forget. And again, the vintage crochet. And there's a photograph, a lady sitting on her front steps. Very pretty lady. Calendar coupon is there. This is a different wallpaper. I think the other journal has this wallpaper too. There are 3 different images on this border, so each book has a different image from that border. And this is another card that I had made recently using digital images. And look at that stain on the back of that paper. It's so pretty if you like grungy. A quilt book. Milk bottle cap in red and blue. Kramer's Dairy Farm. Another catalog page. Another book page that I already had made, and I did like. Well, I didn't do anything to this side of the page, but previously. But after I decided to add it to this book, I added this pocket. And I think the other half of the page has some glued stuff down. This is from a digital grapefruit. There's I think that was a room freshener thing. So that's an ad for that. And a card that I had sewn some fabric to. It's got lemons on it to go along with the citrus grapefruit. And some tickets. So this is the one I think ended up with quite a bit of citrus images. I love this page with the, looks like some kind of a billhead digital. This is the other part of that page that I had made for another journal and didn't use. So I used a bunch of them in these journals. Where is it? Here. So it's this page that came out of a book or a magazine. And I liked this side and this side, so I didn't cover them up. But this one, I covered it up with a 1957 journal page. And this was from a very large book and it had church members. And maybe these were their tithes, their offerings. So each member had one square like this, and there were a bunch of squares on the page. It was a very interesting book. This is a strip of vintage wallpaper. And this had already been all done to the page. Also, this pocket was made. And I tucked that in there. This one has a sweet wrinkled peas. This might be the other half of the same label. And there's a guest check and a flower seed packet. I didn't put a recipe card in there. I put the same one, and it's a double one. Okay, then again, all digitals here. And here is the greeting card. I just love the colors, and the housewife with her plaid, her apron. She's got a ribbon, a real ribbon here on her apron. From Celia. Again, the Cherries label and a digital. This came from a 1950s magazine for stainless tableware from Fels Naphtha. And here we have the same postcard with the motor oil, and this is a Dreft laundry detergent box that I turned into a paperclip from an old magazine. Chick's Robin Hood diaper. And here we have another Borden coupon. There's a coffee percolator and an alarm clock. Digital. And a coaster recipe for ham loaf. These are written on papers. All the recipes that I put in this back pocket, I think, are written on paper, not cards, which I think is pretty cool. That's a digital from this kit. And the back pocket, we have more wallpaper border, another piece from an old magazine. This is an advertisement for from a magazine for these mats. I think it was a Rubbermaid ad. And a guest check in the Savers book. So you actually got 3 guest checks in this book. Lastly is this one. This one has a blue buckle on it with a pretty shape. And one of them, I think this one I glued instead of sewed, because it wasn't long enough. I didn't piece this one together, and I didn't want to take up any more length. I'd have to pull it out further in order to sew it. So I just glued it there. But I love this. It was just a white piece with kind of a wide stripy plaid border on all around it. So this is one of the pieces of that. I think it was a tablecloth. This was a tablecloth, and this was a towel, I think. And this is a piece from a vintage apron with the rickrack attached. Vintage crochet here. And this is a really beautiful vintage trim that I've had for a long time. I've been hoarding it, and I believe that this was one that was sent to me from Switzerland by Eva, or Eve. I think it's Eve. And it was a gift from her, and I've been hoarding. I use them, but I've been hoarding them too. So yeah. So I love it here, though. It matches the blues up here. And then I added another vintage button here with the vintage thread already in it. This is a piece of a tablecloth back here. And the pocket with a digital. And this lady from a magazine from the 40s. So you can write on the backs of these ladies. These images were cut from vintage tablecloth, these little fruit images. And here's the photograph in this book. milk bottle cap. Another vintage catalog. Oh, this is the one I had to put more tape on. So 2 of the pages had to be taped. The one that has color wasn't quite as thin as these. This was the book page that I had not used in a previous project. Oh, this is the front side. I was looking for the other side. And I used some of Amity Bloom's digitals to cover this side. And this is a digital of a label for citrus. I folded it around the page. And I had this dyed tag, and I sewed this fabric. I think that might be Tim Holtz measuring tape, and a fabric tab there. And on this side, there's just a digital card. And here's the other side of the page that I decorated. This is part of the Amity Bloom paper. That's a different scrapbook paper. This is a real receipt from Rogers Optical. I'm not sure where this yellow paper came from. It's got a little bit of texture, very slight texture. And this is from Amity Bloom. This is vintage wallpaper that my daughter found in her house when she bought it. Some extra rolls. She hates it. It's in her bedroom. She hates it, but I love it. I love it for what I do. I don't know if I'd love it on my walls. This one has a bicycle on the as a stamp, and there's a bicycle on the other side of the page. Here it is. Lima beans this time, but peas, and no recipe card. I did bring down an extra one. And here's the card. It's got ribbon. This one also has ribbon, and it's a window with an awning, and the window's open, and look at the gorgeous flowers. And this looks like the latch of a diary. There's the bit of ribbon. It's threaded through. Cherry label. And this is from a 1930s magazine for Heinz Vinegars. Folded up paper inside and some tickets. I love this one, Rice Krispies box from an old magazine. And this one has a postcard from Montgomery Ward, 100-page catalog for plumbing, heating, and building material. You could send this in and order that free catalog. And here we have the other Borden sticker with a mixer, a hand mixer, and alarm clock. Hills Brothers Coffee paper coaster, and this recipe is for orange marmalade. 3 oranges, 1 lemon, and 11 cups of water. Sugar, equal parts. I'm not sure equal parts to what. The water. That's a lot of sugar. Postcard, that's part of the kit. And I love this ad from a magazine. I sewed it to the wallpaper border, and it's for Heinz cooked macaroni, enriched with the smoothest cream sauce you've ever tasted. And then here we have J.H. Hunt, California Orchard Flavors. So some fruit here. I'm not sure. I guess peaches and pears. And a Savers book. I think I'll stick a guest check in here. The other one had a guest check in the back pocket. And that's it. That's what I've got for you. 3 journals that I absolutely love, and I can't wait to show you the one I made for me. But I hope that you love these and that you'll come to my shop, which I have linked below. I've linked the digital kit and my shop, and you can go below and do some shopping. Just click on the links. And I'll see you in the next video. And I hope you're having a creative day. Bye.